Hi, it's Tanya Smith-Lorenz from More Business Buzz, and in this week's Small But Mighty Marketing Show, I want to talk to you about copy that glides. So I'm going to use the analogy of going on a journey. So last weekend, we had a family get-together, and I had to drive from where I live in Pembrokeshire down through Carmarthenshire and along the M4 to where we were meeting. And normally, when I do this journey, it's maybe in the middle of the day, and there are certain spots where I always get held up on that road. And this time we were meeting quite early in the morning, so I got up really early and I did the journey, and I was there by 9:30, and it was so smooth. It was a pleasure to do the journey, which is not like me. I don't normally like motorway travelling, but it was an absolute pleasure. And this analogy can and should be applied to your marketing copy as well. When I'm writing long form sales pages, I read what I'm writing, I read it through, and there's something that I ask myself, which is a phrase that was given to me by one of my mentors, Amy Posner, and it's this: does it pass the breath test? Sometimes, we're trying to fit a lot of ideas into a certain section, and you find that your sentences have run on too long. And when you're just writing it or reading it in your head, you don't always notice it. But when you read it out loud, you'll instantly see that it doesn't pass the breath test, because basically you run out of breath before the end of the sentence, which means that it's too long. And that means that it's tiring for the reader to be reading that copy, and also it doesn't flow smoothly. Another thing that you want to look out for are things which create confusion or stop words. For example, if you start a sentence with "but," and I do this sometimes, and sometimes it works well, but when you're reading through your copy, and if you read it out loud, you'll see that there might be certain phrases that you stumble over, or certain points where the copy doesn't flow. And you might think, well, it doesn't matter. I'm not writing something that, I'm not trying to produce the next award-winning novel. But why it matters is because the person at the other end who's reading your copy and hopefully going to buy something from you, every time they have to stumble over something in the copy, or something doesn't flow quite right, it doesn't sound like it would if you were speaking it, then you're causing them to pause. You're causing a sticking point in the copy. And what that does is it takes them out of the moment. Their logical brain sort of kicks in and thinks, well, that doesn't sound quite right, or they're trying to untangle what you're saying, and every time they hit one of these blocks or sticking points, it's like a snarl up in traffic. It affects their mood, it affects how they're feeling, it affects their emotions. It takes them out of that emotional buy-in that they've got with your copy, where they're hanging on every word, and it pulls them out of that state, and it kicks their logical brain in, where they're thinking, this doesn't sound quite right, this doesn't read right. And that's the last thing you want in your copy, because then you've sort of broken the magic spell that you're trying to create when you write good copy. So here's what I would encourage you to do anytime you're writing copy: is actually, when you've finished, read it out loud. It's just to yourself. You don't have to feel crazy doing it, but read it out loud. See whether it passes the breath test to make sure that your sentences aren't running on and on forever and they're too long. And look out for sticking points and bits that don't quite run smoothly, and rewrite those to make them run more smoothly. And that will help your copy be better and hopefully convert better. So there we go. There's a tip about getting good flow through your copy. And I'll see you in the next episode. Bye-bye.